All right, good morning, Belmont family. I was just jotting down some of my thoughts that I had about yesterday's chapter 7 because I know I've been asking you to jot every day, but I kind of wanted to show you what that should look like if you're feeling a little confused of what a jot should look like. So I just wanted to share some of my thoughts with you. I could also post this on FlipGrid. I just thought about that, so I'll try to post a video later. I asked you yesterday to make a prediction on what Granny and Louisiana might do in the next chapter. Did you feel like Louisiana was going to stay with Granny? Just based off of what you knew about the characters. So here are my ideas. I tried to write them down so that you could see them. The first one I said, I am thinking, hang on one second, let me read this from my sticky note. I said, I'm thinking that Granny will come up with some type of plan, or she already has one. I think this because Granny usually has a plan, right? And this shows me that she is a wily person, okay? We in my reading class talked about that word wily. To be wily sort of means you're like clever or cunning or sneaky, things like that. And Granny has shown me that she's definitely a wily person, and she wants Louisiana to be that same sort of way. So I feel like Granny has some sort of plan. I'm not sure of what it is, but I know based off of who she is that she always has a plan. So I think that. My thought about Louisiana, I just drew a line and did it at the bottom. My thought about Louisiana is something a little bit different. I also think, let me grab my other sticky note. I also think that as much as Louisiana wants to leave Granny, she's going to stay. I think this because she always does what Granny tells her to do, and even when Granny is mean to her, Louisiana still looks out for her, like at the dentist. Like, even when Granny does things that Louisiana doesn't like, and Louisiana's mad at Granny, she still looks out for her, like she did at the dentist, and trying to make sure that she got to the dentist so that she would have her pain relieved, you know? So I'm feeling like those are the things that might happen. If you're confused on what a jot should look like, just take a look at one of my examples and think about how you could make your jot look something like that, right? What prediction are you making? What are you thinking? And notice how I used what I knew about the characters to make that prediction. I know Granny, I know Louisiana, and so I used what I knew about them to make a prediction about what they were going to do next, okay? All right, so there's my jot. Let's get on with chapter 8, because I know you guys are anxious to see what is going to happen, and so am I. I haven't read this chapter yet. Are you guys ready? Chapter 8. So we left off where Granny and Louisiana are at the hotel, and Granny tells Louisiana to go inside and use her charm to get them a room. And so Louisiana's about to go inside, and she's doing what Granny asked her to do, like I said. But she gets out of the car and she slams the door as hard as she can because she's mad, you know? Okay, chapter 8, you ready? Right before I walked into the office of the Goodnight Sleep Tight, I saw a crow sitting on the roof, looking down at me. His feathers were very black. Hello, I said to the crow. He cocked his head. The sun was lighting up his wings. Granny blew the horn at me. Well, I said to the crow, as you can see, I am not in charge here, so I guess I will have to move along. The crow cocked his head again, and then he flapped his wings and flew away. I still had hold of Carol Ann's Christmas cookie tin. The last thing Carol Ann had said to me was, Sweetheart, you keep those cookies. You keep the whole tin. As I said before, there is goodness in many hearts. In most hearts. Granny blew the horn again. I raised the tin up higher so that it was in front of my heart like a shield. I opened the door and went into the Goodnight Sleep Tight to use my charm and secure us a room. What choice did I have? The good news is that there was a vending machine in the vestibule of the motel office, and it was stocked with the most amazing array of things. There were toothbrushes with little tubes of toothpaste attached to them, and candy bars with caramel and nuts, and also bags of peanuts, and rain bonnets that were folded up into neat little squares, and packages of crackers with orange cheese in the middle of them. The vending machine was such a miracle that as I stood and contemplated it, I almost wondered if I was dreaming. But then Granny blew the horn again, and I knew that it was not a dream. None of it was a dream. I opened the second set of doors and went all the way inside the Goodnight Sleep Tight office. There were black and red squares of shag carpet on the floor. And also, there was an alligator. He was dead, of course. But he was dead in a ferocious pose. His mouth was open and all his teeth were displayed. "May I help you?" said the woman behind the counter. Her hair was in curlers. "Hello," I said. I smiled, using all of my teeth. "My granny is recovering from some recent tooth surgery and we need a room." "You pay up front," said the woman. She pointed at a sign up on the wall that listed the price for rooms in red ink. It was a very emphatic sign. "Well, my goodness," I said, after I studied the sign with pretend interest. "Would you like a chocolate chip cookie with walnuts in it?" "Are you selling them?" "No," I said. "I'm sharing them." I opened the tin and held it out to her. She took 2 cookies. "This is a nice motel," I said. "I admire your vending machine and your alligator." The woman shrugged. She said, "It's all mine and whoop-de-doo and who cares? I never wanted it in the first place, especially the alligator. But that's how it goes around here. Divorce settlement. You end up with all kinds of things you don't want." "You do?" I said. The woman took a bite out of one of her cookies. She studied me. "Don't ask me for anything," she said. "What would I ask you for?" "Assistance, mercy, I don't know. It's clear that you have a hard luck story, and I don't want to hear it." "Well, as I said, my granny is in the car and she is recovering from tooth surgery. I will go and tell her that we have to pay up front. She is the one with the money." "Tooth surgery," said the woman. "Tooth surgery," I said. "And other tragic things have occurred, but it's probably best if I don't speak of them right now." "Yes, don't." I stared at the lady, and she stared back at me. Granny has always said that long silences make people uncomfortable and that sometimes they will say or do things that they would not normally say or do in order to fill up the silence. However, this was not the case with the lady in curlers. I was the one who ended the silence. I said, "Do you have a phone I could use?" "Obviously, I have a phone, but you're not going to use it." "There are probably some people who are wondering where I am," I said. "I'm not getting involved in any of that," said the woman. She brushed cookie crumbs from her hands. "Okay," I said. "My name is Louisiana. What's yours?" The woman narrowed her eyes. "What difference does it make what my name is? You're still not going to use the phone, and you still have to pay up front for the room." I smiled at her. "For heaven's sake," she said. "My name is Bernice." I kept smiling. I said, "Bernice, do those curlers really make your hair come out curlier?" "Why would I waste my time with them if they didn't? Go and get your granny. Nothing happens for free in this world, and I am not in the charity business, as you have surely ascertained by now." Bernice was right. I had ascertained exactly that. I went out to the car to retrieve Granny. The Goodnight Sleep Tight was a very clean motel. I know because I looked under the bed, which is the first thing that I do whenever I go into a motel room. Before Granny and I settled into the house in Florida, we stayed in many, many hotel rooms, and I kept a collection of all the things I found lurking under the beds. A spool of thread, which was green, a ballpoint pen imprinted with the word Schwartz Excavating. The ink in the pen was dried up, but I liked the word excavating very much. Bobby pins. There is almost always at least one bobby pin under a motel bed. I do not know why this is so, but it is. Paper clips, and someone's letter to their Uncle Al. The letter started, "Dear Uncle Al." I can't remember what it went on to say, but I was glad that somewhere in the world there was an Uncle Al. I pretended that he belonged to me and that he was the kind of uncle who pulled quarters out of your ear and offered to buy you big bags of salted peanuts and cotton candy on a stick when you went to the ball game together. One time, in Lucas, Alabama, I looked under a motel bed and found the skeleton of a mouse. I saved that too. I'm not afraid of mice or their skeletons. But when we moved into the house in Florida and Beverly and Ramey became my friends, I threw away my collection of all the things I had found under motel beds because I thought that part of my life was over. Well, I guess I was wrong. In any case, the point I'm making here is that there was nothing at all under the good night sleep tight bed, not even a bobby pin. The bathroom mirror was spotless, and the toilet had a sanitized for your protection strip on it. The water glasses were wrapped in paper. The good night sleep tight was very clean, and there were even 2 luggage racks, one for Granny's suitcase and one for mine. Also, there was a phone in the room, but it had a tiny lock on its rotary dial so that you could not use it without a key. Granny saw me looking at the phone and said, "Place no calls, Louisiana." As if I could. And then Granny got into bed, pulled the covers up over her head, and became, to all intents and purposes, invisible. I turned away from her and stared at the curtains, which were pushed to one side and were printed all over with little palm trees. A crow flew by. It was the same crow that had been sitting on the roof of the motel office. I recognized him by his shiny feathers. "Hello," I called out to the crow. "Close those curtains immediately," said Granny. Her head was all the way under the covers and all of her teeth were gone, but she still knew exactly what everybody was doing and could tell them how to do it differently. It did not seem to me that her powers were diminished at all. It was very frustrating. I closed the palm tree curtains. There's something sad about palm trees cavorting all over curtains when you are not in Florida, but are instead in Georgia. Why weren't the curtains printed with peaches? That is what I wanted to know. Curtains should be state appropriate. Lots of things, in fact, should be different from how they are. All right, that's the end of chapter 8. We're on chapter 9 now. Man, I feel like we're getting into some pretty deep feelings that Louisiana is having. I was thinking about maybe a jot for today being something about how you think Louisiana is feeling right now. And maybe try to go beyond those like simple words that we might have used in first, second, third grade, things like that. Think about a word that would really specifically tell how she might be feeling at this moment, just based off of the things that she shared with us in the chapter. She used to collect all these things from under motel beds, and she would keep her collection. And then when they moved into the house in Florida, she threw it all away because she became friends with Beverly and Ramey, and she thought that whole phase of her life where she was running around to different motels was over, but it wasn't, you know? So I want you to think about how that might make her feel, and I want you to jot about that today. Remember that your jots, and remember this is 2 jots, so don't get stressed out that it's a lot of stuff on a board. Your jot should look something like this, right? And if you have an idea and you're done writing about it, just draw a line just like I did right here and start another one, right? If you have a couple ideas that you want to jot about, great, that's fine. Just draw a line on your paper and start another one. I will record my jots on FlipGrid so you guys can see those there as well. And I hope that you do too today. I hope that you spend some time thinking about how Louisiana feels. And I hope that you record a FlipGrid and share it with all of us so we can see it. I know you guys have loved getting to see each other's faces on Zoom and on FlipGrid and all those things. So be on the lookout for chapter 9 tomorrow. We are getting through this book. I can't wait to see what happens, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. And I will see you later, Belmont family. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.